Usually, I spend more time dreading the task than I do actually completing the task. Last month, I made a video titled How to Work Full-Time and Homestead Without Dying. And Deanna Ellsworth commented that while she enjoyed the info on the video, it wasn't what she was looking for. She was hoping for detailed information on how we juggle full-time jobs off farm and homestead. So that's what I've got for you today. I've got 7 tips or 7 strategies and then 2 bonus thoughts or mind shifts that I want to give you that can really help you manage your life on the farm, your full-time work, and not feel like you're going nuts. We don't vacation, or we rarely vacation. When we do, we usually take a weekend and like a Friday through Monday or Friday through Sunday, and we'll drive about 5 hours and visit Chris's family in Oklahoma or something like that. This year we're taking a 1-week vacation to celebrate our daughters. They're both graduating from university this summer, and so we're going to take a 1-week family vacation. But other than that, we stay home. We don't go camping. We don't take expensive trips because where we want to vacation is where we live. We love being on the farm. We love being here, living in nature. And so that automatically builds in time on the farm if you're not going elsewhere when you're farming. Our weekends are here at home. And that's very similar to strategy number 2, which is limit your off-farm activities. Limit your outside activities. We live in a small rural town in southwest Missouri or south central Missouri. I'm not sure, probably south central Missouri. And sports is king here. And so many people have their kids in regular softball and travel softball and soccer and baseball I guess not softball and baseball and basketball and volleyball, or whatever the sports are that are available. They're in everyone year round, and they have to go to games and they have to go to practices. That eats up a lot of your time. When our kids were here, we let them each have 1 activity at a time so that our time away from the farm would be limited. You might have to learn to say no when you're asked to volunteer for the PTA, and you might have to say no to bowling nights or going out to coffee with friends, and you have to be okay with it. If homesteading is your priority, and if you're not able to leave your full-time job, and you don't want to be running ragged all the time and exhausted, choosing to be here instead of out doing other activities, that's one of the ways that we manage our time so that we're available to do projects here on the farm. The next thing that we have done is to set systems in place that allow our farm to run very efficiently. We can do our daily farm chores in 30 minutes or less in the evening, and then the morning chores are super simple. It's basically let the birds out, the ducks and the chickens out, and then when we have calves, we have morning feedings, but that's it. So we have multiple hoses going to different stock tanks and near the chicken coops so that we're not having to drag a hose from place to place, or even worse, in the beginning, we were carrying 5-gallon buckets of water or loading up the wheelbarrow with 5 gallons of bucket of water and filling up tanks and things. That takes forever. So having multiple hoses, we don't have an irrigation system yet, but having multiple hoses allows us to just change. Just take one hose off the spigot, put the other one on. And speaking of that, these quick connect devices on the spigots and on the ends of your hoses are fantastic. You can link hoses together using them. You can hook it up to sprinkler and move it to another sprinkler. Huge time saver. In fact, I'll see if I can find an Amazon link and put that down in the description because they're really a game changer once we got those. The float stop valves for our stock tanks. So basically you can put your horse tank, your cattle tank, your pig trough, whatever you have that has water running to it. You can leave the water on, you can leave the hose hooked up, and it will constantly fill it, so you never have to worry about refilling your stock tank. That does not work in winter when it's freezing, but as soon as we have our last hard frost, we'll hook that up and we will be good to go all summer long. And we have one of those for each tank that we have in different areas around the farm. Along those same lines is these big feeders that we make out of trash cans for the birds. We only have to buy chicken feed once every other week. We only have to fill those up once every other week. So every day when we come outside, we throw scratch for the birds, but we're not having to carry buckets of feed and fill them up every day. And that is a big time saver as well. Another one of our systems is to store animals' grain near where they're going to get it. So we keep calf food down here in the calf barn. Have multiple waterers. Have plenty of water for your birds, for your small livestock, so that you're not having to refill them every day. All of these little bits of things add up to saving you a lot of time every day doing your simple everyday tasks. Get your garden sprinklers and your orchard sprinklers, if you use them, on a timer. One more thing that can save you a little bit of time, and when you're working full time, every little bit that you save really adds up. These next 4 items all have to go under the broad category of to-do list. The first one is so important. Get that to-do list out of your head. The mental strain or weight of trying to remember everything that needs to be done on the homestead is too much for your brain to handle. At least it is for mine. Get it down on paper, get it on a chalkboard, get it on a whiteboard, get it in an app. Have something going so that when you're not at home, when you're not doing homestead work, you don't have to think about it. That is just that simple act of not having to go, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, while you're not doing it. What is the point? All that does is add stress to your emotional self and to your mental self. Save yourself the headache. Get it out of your brain, get it on paper, get it on your app. I have a couple different places I do this. I have in my notes app, in my phone, I have a to-do today list and where I'm constantly shuffling things and prioritizing. I also have a chalkboard where I have goals for the year or big things that I want to get done. And every now and then I'll add or change things on there as necessary. And then I always have pieces of paper floating around the house with stuff that I want to remember. So between those 3 things, it saves me a lot of sanity, because when I'm away, when it's not time, I don't have to worry about it because I know it's on the list and I will get to it. Once your to-do list is prioritized, the next thing that I want to encourage you to do is to have the attitude to ask yourself this question: if not now, when? In other words, if I need to add honey water, sugar water to my bees so they can start making fresh comb this year, now is the perfect time to do that. Let's just go out and do it, because if I put it off, then all it's going to do is maybe never get done, right? Because I put it off and I put it off and I put it off, and then doggone it, they didn't get the sugar water they needed, and now I have a hive that's swarming because they don't have enough brood comb or whatever it is, right? You get the idea. I'm working full time. I have church responsibilities. I have all this stuff going on the farm. If I don't do it now, when am I going to get to it? You know what? I'll just do it now. So just do it. Just pick something off the list and do it and check it off. It's so exciting when something is checked off on my to-do list. And sometimes even if I think of something to do and I haven't written it down yet and I get it done, I'll go add it to my to-do list just for the sheer pleasure of checking it off. There's just something about checking off a task. It's like a little gold star in my day. It just makes my heart happy. The next thing I want you to do with this to-do list is just find small chunks of time throughout your day, right? So if it's like that time between when you get home and your spouse gets home from work, and maybe there's a 30-minute difference or something right there, do something for the homestead. Just pick something, sort some seeds, get some soil ready mixed up for the next time that you're going to be able to plant seeds. Go outside and water some plants, anything like that. I try to find when I've just got, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, I'll just pick something and I'll do it, because those little things add up and they make a big difference in the sense of that I'm actually getting things done. I don't know if you can hear that calf over there screaming at me. He's like, "Rah!" He has been weaned of milk. They both have been weaned of milk. They're on grain now. But the steer, he's just like sure that he still needs milk. And if he sees me outside, he starts yelling at me and he's like, milk, milk. He'll be fine. He just thinks he needs it. He's okay. He's eating hay, he's eating grain, he's fine. So if you can hear, I don't even know if you guys can hear it, but if you hear that in the background, he's not dying, I promise you. And while we're talking about finding those small bits of time throughout your day, I want to say this. Most tasks take much less time than I think they will in my head. Usually, I spend more time dreading the task than I do actually completing the task. I spend more time thinking about how much time this is going to take me. I don't know when I'm going to get it done. I don't think I have time to do this, than I actually do just doing it. So I've got to change my mind and realize most tasks are going to take me 5 to 10 minutes and I can go out and get something done. And maybe it is a bigger task, but maybe I can break it down into sections, into smaller tasks. So like this weekend, I want to clean out the garden. That's a huge task to get it ready for spring. But if I say, well, you know what? I'm going to start and I'm just going to clean from the fence to the first trellis. That's all I have to do. And if I get that done, it's a win. And then if I still have time left, I'll go from the trellis to the raised beds. And I'll just work on that area and put down weed fabric, whatever I need to do in that area. So just breaking down those tasks that are overwhelming and big into smaller tasks and then finding small chunks of time to complete those. Sorry, I bumped a paper. Like I have a notebook here to remind me of everything I want to talk about and it hit the camera, so sorry about that. So finding the time, so what was I saying? So breaking down those big tasks into smaller tasks so that when I find those little chunks of time in my day, I'm actually able to get things done and make progress towards those goals. Now we've been working on getting our smaller tasks done. We're finding chunks of time throughout the day. We've got our to-do list prioritized. What about those things that actually are bigger projects? I have a chicken coop that needs building. That is not something we can work on 5 minutes at a time. It's really not convenient to get all your tools out and nail up one board and then put all your tools away, right? That just doesn't even make sense. So what I have found is then if I have a project like that, I need to move it from my to-do list to my calendar. And that is key. We're going to calendar our time. So I have the luxury of owning my own business and writing my own work schedule for my off-farm hours. My husband does not. And building a new chicken coop, I'm looking that way because the basic structure of it is right there, ready for us to do the next step on. My husband does not have the luxury of writing his own schedule. He works for a company and his schedule is given to him. So we need to get those big tasks from the projects. We need to get projects off of the to-do list and onto the calendar. So we're gonna block in maybe a half a Saturday every few weeks until that chicken coop is completed. That is really the only way that I can get it done. And maybe I'm gonna get an invitation to go do something fun, but I'm gonna look at my calendar and I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, I've already got something else booked that day. Nobody needs to know that I'm booked for working on my farm. If I want to get things done on the farm, I have to be committed to homesteading. I have to choose, I'm gonna get up early before I go to work and work in the garden. I'm gonna come home when it's hot in the summer and I'm gonna stay up late and water the garden or weed the garden. And I'm gonna spend my weekends doing projects on the farm because homesteading is important to me. And what your priorities will show in two ways especially. Where you spend your money and where you spend your time. So your words are important. Words have the power of life and death. When we speak things to ourselves, it creates new neural pathways. So it's very important that you tell yourself the things that you want to do, the things that you want to accomplish. We are homesteaders. We choose this lifestyle. But if our money and our time don't align with our words, then homesteading isn't really a priority for us. So that's a commitment that we have made, that we choose to use our weekends, we choose to use our days off to get farm projects done. Having said that, I do want to talk about a couple things that I hope will really encourage you. These two mind shifts. And the first one I actually learned when I was first starting to homeschool my children. And they had been in a traditional Christian school, regular school hours, all of that. And when I was talking to a friend of ours who was a veteran homeschooler, and I was like, what if we don't get the whole math book done in a year? Like, what if they don't learn it all in that year? And she said to me, whatever they learn is what they needed to learn that year. And when you stop for the summer or you stop for a break and you come back, you just pick up where you left off. And that just was life impacting for me. That just shift of, we are now working on our own time frame. There's not a specific deadline. And that can apply to so many areas of life, right? On the homestead, I've got a to-do list this long, but whatever I get done today is what I needed to get done today. So give yourself some grace. If you're just not knocking out the to-do list as fast as you thought you were, if you're not keeping up with XYZ Homesteader on YouTube, if you're not having an Instagram pretty, oh, that's another thing I'll go into in a second, an Instagram worthy, pretty garden, it's okay. You got done what you needed to get done. It's okay. Give yourself the grace. It's okay. And let's just talk about this. If you're going to work full time and you're going to homestead in the evenings, in the mornings, on the weekends, you have to be willing to give up the perfect picture of what your homestead should look like. And probably you got to give up what the inside of your house should look like. My house is a little messier than I would like it to be. I would like my house to be a little tidier all the time. Do I clean the toilets? Yes. Do I vacuum the floors? Yes. Do I wash the dishes? Yes. Do I do it all as soon as I think I should? Maybe not. I've had to give up some of those things, some of those expectations that I've placed on myself in order to be able to do the outside work. All right, now, my very last tip, strategy, mindset shift that I want to share with you today is we are not striving for perfection. We're striving for progress. Practice makes perfection? No, practice doesn't make perfection. Perfection is an unattainable goal. None of us are perfect. There's no human on this planet who has arrived. There's no homesteader on this planet who has everything exactly as they want it to be. No, everyone is constantly striving. Well, I don't know about everybody, but all the homesteaders I know are constantly striving to make their farm run better, to grow more food, to can more food, to teach classes, to encourage one another. Whatever it is we're doing, we're not there yet, and that's okay. So I've been on this journey. We moved here in January of 2014. So 9 years. 9 years ago, I had never really gardened. I had done 1 square foot, like 4 foot by 4 foot bed in California. I had never raised livestock. I had never butchered an animal, right? Okay, so fast forward 9 years now. We have bees, we have chickens, we have ducks. We've raised turkeys and pigs. We have cattle. We have a 75 foot by 25 foot garden. I sell at the farmer's market. I make some farm crafts. Oh, I forgot the rabbits. We raise rabbits for meat also. I had 9 years ago, me looked at this blank slate of pasture. I would not have envisioned that I could do all of this. But little by little, step by step, check mark by check mark, I've worked my way down my list every single year, and it's amazing. Our life that we have created on this farm is amazing and beautiful and joyful. Hard work? Yes. Do things go wrong? Yes. Do we get grouchy with each other? Yes. But all of that doesn't negate all the food that we're growing, all the progress that we've made, the friends that we've made like you. So I just want to encourage you. Strive for progress. Did you grow more than you did last year? Did you raise another animal this year? Did you hatch out some chicks? Did you learn how to can? I haven't yet. Every little bet, every little bit of progress you make is progress towards your family having a healthier, more sustainable, regenerative, life-giving life. So I just want to encourage you today that you can do this homesteading thing. You can work full-time and do it. And if you want to get started and you're not there yet, like you haven't even taken the first step, then click right over here on this link to the video I made last month about how to start a homestead without dying.